Capricorn Talk, where real issues are discussed on Capricorn FM, Limpopo's hottest frequency.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we continue with our conversation. Lawyers for Human Rights Organization have come out strongly in defense of the Socio-Economic Rights Institute. This after Operation Dudula marched to the Institute's offices, accusing it of being unpatriotic for defending illegal immigrants' rights. We're speaking to Lawyers for Human Rights, that is Attorney Mametwe Sibeye. Ntate Sibeye, good evening and welcome to Capricorn Talk.
Greetings, Mami, and pleased to be here, and greetings to
Ralaboga. You have decided to come out in defense of the Socio-Economic Rights Institute. Talk to us about that.
Well, you would know, Operation Dudula, I think, that applied to march to the offices of Socio-Economic Rights Institute, a law firm that it's representing for free, communities facing evictions in the inner city, in townships, dealing with the housing crisis in this country, and so on. It is the same organization that also represented the widows and the massacred workers in Marikana, and include quite a number of struggles. It's representing Abasalibasel, John Dolo, and I think people who know this movement of Shektoda. So when they decided to march, and I think in what amounts intimidation, because also like every human rights organization, we represent every human whose rights are impacted, and that includes immigrants. So Abasalibasel John Dolo, which it is an organization of informal dwellers, I think predominantly in case of Angola, I think also in Soweto and everywhere, decided to come because this Operation Dudula has been intimidating these lawyers of theirs. And they organized a counter protest, but also to receive the memorandum in mass. And that's how they ended up. I think for every member of Dudula, I think there were 2 or 3 other communities, actually, only South African local communities that were in protest and defense.
Okay. Advocate Sibeye, honestly, we can't shy away from the fact that there are issues that people are talking about on the ground, saying that government is prioritizing, obviously foreign nationals. So how can these issues be addressed without emotions and, in order to just avoid coming across as being xenophobic or Afrophobic?
So, let's address that. Firstly, there's no basis for that claim. We should look at what the track record of this government has been. They've been passing law after law that is making it more and more impossible for migrants in particular to make an honest living in this country. They can now be employed in a number of workplaces. They are now restricting their right to trade on the streets. So I can't see how that amount difference. Now there is an issue of access to services, and I think somebody asked a question. I think it was during your sister station were called. I think closely asked a question: what do you expect that when these people are here, when they die, we don't offer them mutual, we don't take them to mortuaries when they go to us, like when they are sick, so they can't even breathe South African air or what. I mean, it was rhetorical, but I think it for me, it focused the essence of the problem. So the problem with the healthcare, with housing, let me give an example, because people talk about all of these things. I see they move even from building to building, they hold them responsible for the housing crisis. Let's take housing as an example in my country. When the
Mr. Sibeye, Mr. Sibeye,
yes.
If you could just summarize, unfortunately we have run out of time, if you could just summarize the issues
Let me give
in a
an
minute.
example of the issue of housing, which is one of the issues which the state is working on. When the AC took over, there were 300 informal settlements in the country. 30 years down the line, there is 27,000 to 30,000 informal settlements. 30% of the population is living in informal settlements. The housing backlog is 3.7 million from 1.2 million in 1994. Now, the ANC is no longer building any housing. In 1999, which was the highest point, they were building about 300,000 houses a year. That came down to 75,000 houses, RDP houses in 2019, down from 300,000 if you like. In 2023, that was down to 25,000. There is basically no construction of RDP houses taking place. That is the real reason behind the crisis of housing that SERI is trying to address. Right? The fact that government, it is privatized housing, it is only allocating land to property developers that are building estates that only millionaires can afford, and there's no social housing for the working class, black working class and poor people in this country. That is the real reason, and we can go into the reason as to why our clinics, why our hospitals are collapsing.
Just in a minute,
but also we can go into why there are 12 million unemployed South Africans in this country, which I don't think has anything to do with the migrants.
Thank you so much for your time. We have to pay the bills, but we appreciate. Thank you.